Hi, I'm Karthik from designyourthinking.com, and in this video I'm going to share with you 12 tips that you can use to stand out as a guest on others' podcasts. Now, if you have a personal brand or a business, I know how important it's for you to have more people looking at your brand, and being on podcasts is one of the best ways to do that. Now, I know there are various mediums out there for you to actually go and talk about your brand or your business. Podcast is one of the best ways to do that. Simply because of one big reason. In podcasts, the listeners of the podcast have a great engagement and a relationship going on with their podcast host. So when you are on other shows, you are actually riding that wave and connecting with a new set of audience right from the minute they start to hear you. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 16 ways you can make yourself heard, make yourself connected with that new audience that you're finding in each show that you're on. So without further ado, let's jump right into tip number 1. Have your information, your contact information out in public and let people know that you are ready to be on other shows. Now, this is one of the biggest reasons a lot of people don't get on others' podcasts, because people don't know that you are ready. Now, the best way to do it is to have your own personal blog and an about page where you actually put everything about yourself, and a contact page where you let people know that you are open to being on others' shows. Tip number 2, respond to podcasters when they reach out to you immediately, at least ASAP, as soon as you can. Because podcasters are looking for people like you to be on their show, and when you don't respond, they probably think that you're too busy or probably you're not interested in their show. So if you are truly interested in being on other shows, do respond. Tip number 3, do not put a price for being on other shows. Now, I know this is one of the things a lot of people think about. Should I charge for being on other shows? The answer is a big no, because that's not the way podcasts work. There are celebrities who actually be on podcasts, and there are new and upcoming entrepreneurs and other kinds of people who try to get on podcasts. None of them actually get paid to be on others' podcasts, because in podcasts, what you're literally doing is promoting yourself, your brand, and building more brand equity for yourself and your brand. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4, try to have a clear idea as to which podcast you want to be on. Now, one of the best ways you can do this is actually by looking at all the other podcasts out there and seeing which one you want to be on. Go to iTunes directory and look for all the podcasts there and make a list of those shows that you would like to be on. Now, I know some of those shows are really big and you probably won't get a chance to be on that show, but at least you know that that is the kind of show that you want to be on. So when someone reaches out to you from a podcast similar to that, you can actually get to say a yes right then and there. Tip number 5, don't go on other podcasts to market yourself or sell your products. That's not what you want to do when you're on other shows. Instead, try to do two things. Inspire the new audience to do what you do or to do something that you want them to do. Or number 2, be useful. Help them do something, achieve something. That's one of the best ways I've seen a lot of podcast guests actually deliver a lot of value. A lot of great guests actually do both of them, but if you can't do both of them, at least do one of them. Be inspiring or useful. Tip number 6, write about yourself out in the media or in your blog. Now, this is one of the things I've seen a lot of people not do quite right, because they just don't talk about themselves. It's important for you to tell your story, to tell why you're doing what you're doing, and let people know what you're doing so that they know that, yes, this is the person I want to have on my show. So if you don't have any place to do it, go create a blog and write about yourself there. So people get to find more about you before they get interested and invite you to be on the show. Tip number 7, talk about yourself on social media. Now, this is one of the best places you can be. I know it's a little noisy, but you cannot go wrong if you start to approach social media in the right way, which is to actually share about yourself more and your experiences. This is one of the best ways for you to get found. I know social media platforms are pretty crowded. Pick one or two of them at the most and use those platforms to actually tell your story and more about you that people can connect with. Tip number 8, at any cost, avoid getting a PR agency to find you a podcast to be on. Now, you want to do that yourself. Never hire somebody to go and talk on behalf of you to get you on that show. Tip number 9, when you're on others' podcast, make sure you're authentic because you are directly talking to their audience. You're literally getting a ticket to be on the VIP seat in front of the audience and actually talk to them one-on-one inside their ears. Be genuine. Never fake, and if you do, it'll be seen. Tip number 10, get comfortable speaking to public and using the microphone. Now, this is one of the biggest things I've seen a lot of my guests struggle with as well. I've seen people use their laptop microphones. Now, that's a strict no. And I've seen some people use some other forms of microphones. Now, I really suggest you go pick up a good microphone and start to speak into it and get used to speaking inside a microphone. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it, but you will find that it's extremely rewarding once you start seeing the outcome of those conversations. Now, if you're looking for a good microphone to use, just check out this link. Whenever I have a video about it, I'll actually pop in the link right there and you can check out that video to know which microphone to pick up. Tip number 12, have a media kit or a press kit ready for people to use. Now, this is one thing that I've seen a lot of great guests do. They have a nice kit, a zip file sorts of, where they have their profile picture, a short bio, and other related things that someone can actually use when they want to write about you or talk about you. Tip number 13, go prepared for your interview. You are talking to a fresh set of people, a fresh new audience, and you're being on a different kind of a show. Try to know more about the audience of that show. Try to know about the questions that the host asks. And going prepared is one of the best ways for you to nail yourself as a guest on someone else's podcast. Tip number 14. Now, I know how important it is for you to sound good on a microphone. And this tip is just for you if you're thinking about it. Green tea with honey is a great combination for you to sip before and during your interview because that actually soothes your vocal cords and your voice comes out a little more smoother and you're actually not feeling that tired. Tip number 15. Now, this one goes along with tip number 14 to help you sound great on others' shows. And this is about exercise. There are various exercises out there to help you train your vocal cords and your chest area to help you sound better. Now, I'll have more videos to talk about each one of this in detail so that you can actually try and practice all of this yourself by looking at those videos. But tip number 15 is exactly that. Exercise before you get on other shows. And the last tip, tip number 16, whenever someone invites you to be in the show, ask them if they have a pre-written set of questions that you can take a look at before being on the show, because a lot of interview-based podcasts have this kind of pre-written questions. I used to have them in the previous format of my show, but I don't have them any longer. So if you're going to be a guest on my show, I probably am not going to have a great answer for you. But still, I would tell you which areas I'm going to jump into in your life, so you can be a little more prepared to answer my questions and not get too surprised when you're actually on the call. That's all I have for today. I really hope these 16 tips were really helpful. I want you to go and put them to action. Go and try them out, because when you try them out, you'll actually see what I'm saying. And I really hope to hear back from you as to how they work for you. Either if there are newer recipes that you've found to soothe your voice, or newer exercises, or newer microphones that you're using. Do leave a comment right below this video. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really hope all these tips helped you. And if you like this video, do leave a thumbs up right below and subscribe to this channel if you're seeing on YouTube, or like this video if you're seeing on Facebook or elsewhere. And if you're on YouTube, once you hit subscribe, click the small notification icon, bell icon right next, so that you get to know whenever the next video comes out. Thank you so much for watching. Until I see you in the next video, cheers, peace.